This is my Oreo cookie review for you, Arthur, over the technology sites that you shared with us. I thought that the geology one, first of all, that you started with was extremely interesting. You did a nice job of demonstrating how the site worked and the interesting facts that you could learn about it. Lucid chart, your next one, I think would be great for presentations, as you mentioned. I struggle with things like that. And I had to do a flow chart for another class. So having seen your example of lucid chart was very helpful. And I appreciate you sharing that. I'm certainly going to keep track of that one. And then core standards. I think that's a great idea, the way that you want to share that with parents. That'd be a great thing maybe to have playing or viewing during an school open house, back to school open house, or parent-teacher conferences, student-led conferences, whatever you may do at your school. That's a great example. Sometimes parents don't understand why we teach what we teach. So I think if you shared those standards, that would be a great idea. The next site that you mentioned was Google Arts. Google Arts was new to me. I had never seen that. What a great opportunity for students that aren't able to travel. Of course, with funding, we know how limited money is, but the site gives a great way for students to experience other areas that they might not ever get to travel to. It was very practical. It seemed very simple to use. One thing that I noticed was, I believe it was when you demonstrated the crevice. I think it would be cool if that website, and maybe it does, I'm not sure, defined what that crevice is, because I wasn't even sure what it was. So that might be helpful for students. And then finally, the USGS website earthquakes that you showed. Living here in Kansas, earthquakes isn't something that we used to experience until they started coming in and were testing the ground and doing the fracking. And so I'm not exactly sure what area you live in, but you may have experienced some of that. So I think access to that website would be very interesting for students. Another thing, one thing that you didn't mention, or maybe I missed, without going back to look at your introduction, I'm not sure what it is that you do teach, so that may have been helpful to mention in your video. And finally, I thought it was great the way that you explained the standards. You embedded your standards into your video explanations. I didn't. I just did it in the written format. So the way that you stated them and the way that they applied to the particular website that you selected and why you did, I thought was very practical. So you did a nice job, and I enjoyed your